Hi, it's Xavier, and I'm not in my retreat. In fact, I'm not even down the bottom of the garden. I'm with Tony in the real place where bonsai truly happens, the maker of the Tony trunk chop. And today he's going to try and help me decide what to do with that.
It must be nice for you to be next to a bonsai master.
Andy's dad.
T-shirts don't lie.
What can I say? Yeah, okay, I'll just be quiet and let the real people talk, shall I? So, Tony, this is a nightmare tree. There's nothing good about it. It's sat in my garden for 3 years like a lot of my nightmare trees, as you've told me. Any ideas?
I don't think it's a nightmare tree. I like it. I think it's absolutely prime.
Are you awake?
I think it's absolutely prime for a wedge cut.
Wedge cut?
I've never done a wedge cut.
Neither have I.
But I think it's prime for a wedge cut. I really do.
So in what way?
This will be ginned.
Yeah.
I see that being ginned. I see this as the new top of the tree.
Yeah.
Or this is the top of the tree. But I think we need to get some movement into that.
Oh, so you're talking about
yeah,
taking
a wedge out,
yeah,
and bending it over.
Where would you put that wedge?
Well, that's kind of the decision. Obviously, if this is the new leader, then the wedge has to go in here, so that is then going upwards. If we want this to be the new leader, the wedge has to be probably here or here, taking it over. It depends where you want the curve on the tree.
What I like...
See, I quite like that base. So we've got to look at the base here. We've got nice roots coming on this side, which kind of support the design. Those trees, they act like an anchor.
I like all this up there, so I'd be looking then going low. So I've never done a wedge cut. I mean, you almost did wedge cuts when you were doing your
my multiple cuts.
Your multiple cuts.
But I would do just one wedge cut, a la Ryan Neal.
Ah,
yes. He does them on pines, and apparently pines do wedge cuts really well. And so, if you like this,
yeah,
we want that to be the top of the tree.
I think so, yeah.
So the tree has to go this way. So we either put the bend there or the bend there.
I think it's in a round.
It's just going to come across. Oh, sorry, no.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it will be this side. You're right.
In Australia, it would be that side.
Yeah. It will be the cut there.
Yeah.
And then this goes across.
Okay, so that comes out. That becomes the top, and then that.
That can just be bent out of the way with some wire after you've done the cut.
You found it.
We'll apply wire to that, not bend it. And we'll put movement into that after we've done the wedge cut. So
that's worth travelling 150 miles because I actually seriously didn't have a clue on that one, and I hadn't thought of wedge cut at all. I was thinking, the Peter Chan method of splitting the centre, putting a load of...
Yeah, I wouldn't split. I go with a wedge. And then it's how do we pull that round. Obviously we've got this to anchor to.
It's a shame it's a ceramic pot actually.
What we can do is we could put a piece of wood under the pot, sticking out. 2 pieces of wood that fit under the feet,
oh, yeah,
coming out, and then we'll use that as an anchor to bend that top down once we've done the wedge. What do you think?
I think that sounds easy, and it's an absolutely brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant. See?
You have to excuse me chomping on my bacon buttie while I do my analysis.
It's all right. I've left Candace at home, so there's not going to be any criticisms coming in. But I'm really lucky. I've got Jason of the Bonsai Garden, and he's got his bacon buttie, just to prove that we're good. And we're now going to stitch him up, because Tony's already told me what he wants to do with this. Tony's just told me what he thought he would do with it, and I don't want to put any pressure on you, but I was surprised and really liked his idea. So now that you've just come off the motorway, you've had time to think, go for it. Show the world just how much of an expert you truly are.
Oh God help us all. Because all the foliage is in the upper portion of the tree, you've got quite a long straight bit of trunk. This suggests to me literati. Whether or not I keep this, I would be tempted to get rid of that. And probably change the angle of this as well.
Right.
So you de-emphasise the fact that this is straight up. So perhaps bring it over to the side. But then I would be lowering this, putting wire on that, try to put a bit of movement in that and bring it sort of sweeping down over here.
Okay, so we're looking at a literati.
It's got a nice bark on it, nice crusty bark.
I actually bought this as 20 saplings in 2014, planted them in my nursery beds, and then promptly forgot them. So that's nursery bed grown. So what's that? That's 8 years actually. Right. Do you think we'll put Adam on the spot and find out what he thinks?
Well, I think you have to do. No, you've done that to me.
Nice shirt, by the way. Love it.
Thank you.
It's nearly as colourful as mine.
How's it going, everyone? Whilst we were at Tony's, Xavier did film a piece to camera with me where I gave him my thoughts about his tree on how I would approach it. But unfortunately, Xavier lost that footage, so I've sent this to Xavier so he can sort of explain my thought process behind the Scots Pine. So this is Xavier's tree, and excuse my terrible drawing. I'm not very good at drawing on a chalkboard, but I have chosen this angle of his tree for the front because I believe this sort of shows off most and the best angles of the craggly bark. And I think what makes this tree a little bit tricky to work on as a bonsai is the fact that it is a completely straight telephone pole trunk on it. And with any tree that I work on, I always believe there is more than one solution to sort of solving the tree and making it look like a great bonsai. One option would be to completely cut it here and allow this next branch to become the leader and apex of the tree, just doing a massive trunk chop, and that would set the tree back quite a while before you can develop it into sort of a finished looking bonsai. That's not the option that I would go with. Personally, I would like to make use of all of this beautiful trunk on it. What I would do with this tree is make it more of a Literati style bonsai. So first of all, I would get rid of this lower branch altogether and just have it as a straight tree with one branch coming out the top. And now, although this top piece here has bark on it, I would like to gin the top piece of this here. But instead of ginning it and making a ring around the bark here and just removing all the bark in that area, what I would do is split the trunk right there with the hopes of splitting this tree the entire way down the side there. So you would peel off all this part with some gin pliers so that only really half of the tree is alive. So if I do this, that would look a lot more pointy because it would look sort of snapped rather than being a clean cut. Maybe this way. And that will be sort of all straggly, not a clean cut, sort of a messy cut, like lightning strike that. So you got one half of the tree that's dead and the other half of the tree that's alive. Because the trunk on the Scots Pine is a lot more thinner, that would allow you, if you wanted to bend the trunk, give it a little bit of movement. Personally, I like the straightness of the trunk because then with this branch, what we're going to do, instead of having it sort of just jutting off to the side like that, I would wire this branch so it kind of goes up and down in this sort of movement, and then eventually have the foliage fill out into a triangular pad there. So just if I get rid of this triangle, just to demonstrate something what it would look like. You can even have it as a bigger triangle if you wanted to. I actually think it makes a lot more sense to have the triangle up higher, sort of in line with the top of the tree. That's just perhaps my things wanting to be absolutely perfect. And I think overall, when you see it further away like this, you can sort of see the balance then between the negative space on that side and the little bit of foliage on this side. I think this particular tree is a great tree to do this type of work on, where you make it a literati. And then with the top part, if you really wanted to go crazy, you could take a blowtorch and sort of age the deadwood that way and then treat it all with lime sulfur. And there you have it, Xavier. As we chatted about in Tony's, that's just a few of my thoughts and ideas of how I would approach this tree. I hope I was able to get it across with the blackboard, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you get on with it and how you style it.
I see what you're saying there, Adam. Love the chalkboard, by the way. Matches the colour of my hair. I'm really confused now, to be honest, because to be fair, even though I deleted everything you said when we were at Tony's, I was going to go with Tony's idea and do that wedge cut down here. But there's just something about what you've said in terms of having that whole half a tree almost lightning and ripped away, and I like it. And do you know, the other thing is, I've never used these before. These are my my branch splitters, and I got this in my first ever bonsai roll, and I think I want to use them. So I think if this tree's going to have any chance, I'm going to have to split. I'm worried about the amount of sap flow. I'm worried about a number of things, but I think it's going to be the better, more natural option than trying to do a wedge cut, because even if I wedge cut down here and bring it over, I've still got this big straight section here, and I've just got a funny feeling if I divide it correctly, because both those branches are on this side. I haven't decided whether I'm going to get rid of this yet, to be honest. So if I split probably a third along, and then chuck some wire around it so I can get some bends on it, and hopefully, well, I don't know, it's completely new ground to me, but I think if it works it's going to come out better than just a wedge cut down the bottom here and try and create what will still be an artificial. You'll get a nice bend there, but you're still going to have the straight section above the wedge cut. So I'd rather do that, and then obviously because it's thinner, because I've split it, and whether I peel it all away, probably will do, dry it off, see what happens, potentially put some sealant and stuff on it, and then wire and try and put some movement. And I don't know whether they'll end up being Literati, because that problem with Literati is that bend there isn't in any way, shape or form set up for that, so it's more likely that I'm going to be doing something more on this way, potentially with these coming down or something. So anyway, I've been dithering, because much as I love you Blackboard, Adam, you're in Ireland, your hands aren't going to get sticky, whereas mine are. And as I say, I want to try and preserve as much on this side so that we give a lot of hope on that. So let's get rid of that. By the way, there's a quick rule here. If there are any people who are Scots Pine experts who are now watching what I'm doing and going, don't do that, please don't even write anything in comments. I give you permission, switch off, pretend this never happened. What I'm wondering is if I gave this somewhere to rip through, now the hard bit, I suppose I've got to try and break that up. Okay, well, we've got this split going there. Now I'm not worried about this, I can do stuff with that later. I'm trying to keep as much here as intact as I can. And again, I'm quite happy it looks as though it's been now, I have seen trees in nature that have lost that whole top half. And if you imagine you've got a lightning strike that's hit it, then maybe that would... I don't want to be careful. I don't want to destroy the integrity there right now. Right, so if we were looking at that, I mean that's going to get split, but I'm hoping I've got enough integrity here, so if I clean that up, that will allow sap or whatever it's got there we've got integrity all the way up here and under here to this point. That's alive. No idea whether this is going to work at all, but if I put a load of petroleum jelly, what I'm hoping is we're going to stop any sap coming out and thereby protect the integrity of what's left. What do you think? Do you think this is going to work? Well, haven't got a choice. I think this is going to be in stages. I think I'm going to leave this and observe this for a few days because I'm going to have to wire this up. I'm going to wire this up and I'm going to be, I don't know whether to put some raffia or something around this in a few days time so that I can actually do some bending on it, because if I can just get, bearing in mind the front is going to be now is here, if I can just get, I can get a bit of movement in there, but it's going to need support, and then I don't know, I'm less thinking Literati unless we do bring them up, but either way I know I need to get raffia on those. So what I'll be doing, in fact I'll put some raffia on that, but that's the lightning strike. We've got the integrity hopefully for this branch, the integrity of big live vein going up here. I'm hoping that with the pine are like juniper, that you know the veins don't go around in circles like that, and that should be sufficient. I know that I can do the work on that sort of shari deadwood much later date. I just want to seal it at the moment. So, and I do think I want to keep this. Tony, I think that wedge cut might have been a better idea after all. Simpler. I've already wrapped it. There it is. Loads of raffia on it. I've wrapped over the area that's got the Vaseline. My view is that I'm not looking, well, I can't see that it's going to be a detriment to healing, so let's just crack on and do it. So I'm going to wire this. Natural direction, the way that branch is going, it's going to be folding up this way, so I need the wire to coil that way. So it's all on there nicely. So let's get the wire on, shall we? Great big heavy stuff, I know. Measurement process, it's an arm. I need to get it up to this part here. I should have made that a bit longer. That's going to need to be doubled up. Is it 13 quid for 2-3 meters? Okay, well you can see there we've got a bit of a bend in there. There was a really nice crack which we heard, so interesting to see what that goes like. But police are clearly not happy. Very hard to talk while I'm doing this because I'm sort of thinking as I go. If you look, we've got a bit of movement in there. I think the key with this is it's not going to be deadpan straight anymore. I've heard some cracks, and I think, certainly I know when I was speaking with Kenneth, one thing he said is it's okay to hear the cracks. What we've got to do is make sure we don't lose the integrity of this side here. So it's going to stay like this for a while. Yeah, I can also see that coming up actually like that, so I'll wire that up. I'll put some wire on these. I'm just looking at this here. If you look at the front, we're going to have this shari wood here. It could be quite interesting if it survives. It's either that, or we're going there. Moment. Whatever you do say, if this lives, that is no longer dead straight, and if it lives, that is going to be a very, very interesting bit of dead area there. You can see there now there's subtle movement. It's just trying to work out what's up the top here. I really want some back budding here, to be honest. To get back budding, I need this to go wild, lots of feeding. There's no hurry to actually do anything with this, and bearing in mind I need to be looking at that at some point in the long distant future. It's maybe not worth wiring that too close, although yeah, I can just see it just something like that. Okay, so I've removed a few, but I don't want to do any more pruning because I now need that to all push on and see what it produces. I'm going to feed it up really heavily. I'll put Dougie's balls in there, and I'm sure he won't mind. I think you'll agree, there's movement here. If the thing lives, I like where it's going with it. I'll give you a spin. As I say, depending on how it works out, we've got potential fronts here. And, well, it's not perfect. It isn't perfect at all. But, you know, when you look at what it was originally, I think that's 100% better. There is something I can do here, and it's the technique that was actually started by Dan Barton back in the 70s, and he literally blow torches and bends at the same time, and I've seen it on a recent pine video he did, and you can hear it crack, and it basically creates the gin shape without any of the wire or bending. But let's see, I think the front's going to be here. I think that dead area shari could look really good if it lives, so that's what I'm looking at. Could be wiring out for Britain, to be honest, but that is all I'm going to do. So again, I'll say, Tony, hopefully you're watching. Thank you for your advice, and hopefully you're not too unhappy with the way it's gone. Adam, definitely in the end it was your chalkboard that won the day. And most important, people, you guys and gals who are watching, what do you think? Fill those comments up, because this is a first in lots of areas for me, and I'm happy with how it's turned out. We just now got to wait and see if it survives all that hard work. So, from Xavier, with a savagely redesigned Scots Pine, thanks for taking the time to watch. Hope you got something out of it. At worst, you've got the entertainment value of seeing what's going to happen to this. And we'll revisit it soon. Just a heads up, I have also been working on the Scots Pine collaboration with Kenneth. So that one's also moving forwards, and you'll see that probably a lot nearer September. So, from my bonsai retreat, thanks very much, all the best, happy bonsai, and God bless. Cheers.